Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Your Sweetest Life with Stephanie J. I got my mic right here and my notes right here. So this is another episode talking about health and wellness. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Stephanie J. I'm a wife, a mom, 58-year-old woman who is reaching for my sweetest life. I'm in that menopause stage, so I'm learning about the next version of myself. And I'm going through my own transition, and I'm bringing you along so that we can go through this transition together and become the best versions of ourselves together. And today I want to talk a little bit about productivity and rest, because that's always been a thing that I'm going to be transparent. For me, it's always been hard to rest. My husband was always really good at resting. He was always really good at being able to take time to sit and rest. And I really envied that for a lot of years because I never understood how you could sit. I was raised with a mom who ran around. She worked full-time or worked part-time, whatever. I can't remember what she worked. She worked full-time. And she was always running around. She was taking us places. She was cooking. She was ironing. She was doing all the things. And that's what I was raised with. And that's what I was raised to think that that's what a woman did. And that's what your role was. And that you really didn't get to rest. And it's taken me a really long time to finally start to, I'm sorry, there's people in the background here with their TVs up loud. It's taken me a long time to start to enjoy rest again and the importance of rest. And as I've grown into my 50s, I think that became the time when I really started to learn that my body needed rest, that my body needed sleep. You know, one of the things is most of us as adults, we don't get good sleep. We sleep 5 hours, 4 hours. We don't realize our bodies need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. We don't have good sleep routines. We're on our phones, scrolling, playing video games, doing things that will keep stimulating your brain, exposing your brain to blue light so that your brain doesn't get to go rest and go to sleep. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of those things and how we can better rest and better find ways to take time for ourselves. So I'm going to have a blog post coming out soon. And so let's talk a little about understanding what rest is and how important it is and how it is productive for our brains. We need to look at what happens in our brain when we are constantly engaged. So a neuroscientist, Dr. Marcus Rachel's groundbreaking research revealed the existence of the default mode network, a network of brain regions that becomes active when we're not focused on specific tasks. Think of it as your brain's screensaver. But instead of displaying pretty pictures, it's doing something remarkable, making connections between desperate ideas, consolidating memories, and solving problems in the background. When we're constantly on, we're primarily using what scientists call the task positive network. Excellent for executing known procedures, terrible for innovation and creative problem solving. The two networks actually inhibit each other, which means that constant focus literally prevents us from accessing our most creative insight. I like that. I mean, I fumbled a lot of those words. I apologize. But I like that information because one thing that we always think, we're always supposed to be working, and we're always supposed to be producing. But our brains never take the time to rest and recover. And so we can be more productive, more creative when we have time for our brains to rest. And some of that research explains that we can't always be on go. We can't always be on 10. We're in a culture the hustle culture. And it's abnormal to actually rest. I grew up in that culture of work, work, work. You know, you work till you retire. And then when you retire, you get to enjoy life. And that's just a bunch of bullhickey. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And I'm still in that hustle. I would love to get out of it, but I'm still in that hustle. We always focus on that, you know, constantly getting things done, constantly trying to produce. And one thing that I have done for myself, and I hope this helps you, is because I'm also I work a full-time job, but I'm also trying to create a small business that can provide resources for women like us. I spend time in the evening. So my 9 to 5 becomes a 5 to 9, but I don't. I allow myself only no more than 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours to work on the business side. And I know that because I'm doing that God's going to meet me where things need to get done. I don't want to be able to have this extra time to do this, but at the same time lose time that I have now with my family, with my friends, and doing things that I actually love. And so time blocking, that's one thing I want to talk about, time blocking. So if you are trying to do something outside of your work, say you want to start to work out and you're saying, oh, I never have time, I never have time, I never have time. How can you incorporate that into a time block in your evening? Say you take a 20-minute walk, or you go to the gym and you work out for 30 minutes, take a walk in the evening, and you come home, and then you still have time to rest and prepare for the day. Those are important pieces. Taking a bath in the evening or a shower, something to bring you down, incorporating that into your time slot. Now, if you have small children, makes it a little bit harder, right? Because you have to take care of them. You got to get them to practice, do all the things. But I would still encourage women, even who are in that era of raising children, to take time to time block. I did it with my kids, and I was able to still be able to manage my full-time work, go back to school a few times. But, and then I would say then I was overwhelmed. And at those times when I became overwhelmed, I wasn't very productive. I didn't do very well. One of the most important things is sleep. Sleep is one of the most important processes for our brains resting, rebooting, just like a computer. A computer has to go to sleep at some time, because if it keeps working, it's going to get hot, it's going to overheat, the processor is going to stop working. I don't know those things are all true, but I know with a computer, if you do keep running it, it does make the processor wear out, it overheats, and you have to sometimes turn it off. It goes into sleep mode when it's not being used. How come we can't do that? How come we can't go into sleep mode when we're not being used? And we can tell our bodies it's time to rest. So, active rest. Think about light physical activity. So if you can't sit in one spot, which I don't recommend always sitting in one spot, but light physical activity that allows your mind to wander, like walking, gentle yoga, for example, things like that. These are keys, choosing activities that engage your body while freeing your mind. So your mind's not solving some major event, but it's relaxing. Mindful rest, meditation, deep breathing, or simply sitting quietly without distractions. How many times can you count that you have sat quietly without distractions, without somebody needing something, without your brain working on, oh my God, I got to call this job. Oh, I got to do this. I got to pay this bill. How frequently have you just sat quietly, letting your brain rest, sitting in meditation? Think about that and try to incorporate that into your day at some time, especially at the end of the day. And then social rest. Oh my gosh. Having low-key social interactions, like going to coffee with somebody and just taking yourself to coffee, having coffee with a friend, playing with your children, or just casual conversations with colleagues. There's so much political energy right now, and there's so many things going on in the world, like there's shootings, and there just seems like there's something every single day in the news, that we don't have these social rest. Scrolling on social media, seeing everybody's posts. We need to find social rest in our lives so that we can have a little bit of internal peace. The key word is low-key social rest. Remember that. Creative rest, engaging in creative activities unrelated to work, drawing, playing music, cooking, gardening, or crafting. These are great ways for your brain to keep your brain engaged in a positive way. And so some examples of that is that I started scrapbooking again. I went back through like old pictures from my last trip, and I'm putting them in a scrapbook. I did from my 2 previous trips, and I started scrapbooking. And that has been one of the most relaxing things I've done. I didn't like sitting in one spot and doing that has been so, therapeutic. therapeutic for me. And so finding something like that you can enjoy. When I go out in the garden and I'm, cleaning up the garden or picking vegetables or doing things like that, I started that because, well, it can be stressful too. But if you can get it going and not make it a stressful thing, then you can actually enjoy the process. So finding those things, that creative rest, that social rest, the mindful rest and the active rest in your life, and incorporating those into your daily life are some really simple ways for you to come back to a more productive, restful mind. We're going to talk about this more throughout the month of August, because as we're in August, I want us to start prepping for fall. Fall and winter will be coming, like fall and winter go quick. All of a sudden it's October, then it's November, and then it's December, and then it's New Year's. And that's about how fast it goes. And so as we're going in, we're going to finishing summer strong. Finish summer strong by implementing some of these new skills into your daily life. And as you implement those into your daily life, try to find ways to make them consistent. Try to find ways to incorporate them so they can be consistent. If you start off a couple days a week, I'm going to put my phone down. I'm going to call a friend or go meet a friend to go for a walk. Kill two birds with one stone, and not talk about politics and not talk about the bad things happening with your kids, but to talk about things that are enjoyable. Or just go on a walk with a friend and don't talk. Just go and walk together. Social rest and mindful rest all together. Look at that. You can kill two birds. Taking micro breaks, taking little small breaks throughout the day if you can't allow larger breaks to walk away. Something I do when I'm at my office and it gets really, if I'm like, I just need a break, I'll go and take a walk. I'll go put some music on, and I'll take just like a 5-minute, 10-minute walk, just a little bit of a mental break to put myself back into a more productive way. Because even when you think about when you're stressed, when you're overwhelmed, when all those things are happening in your brain, you aren't really productive because you're so emotional. So I want you to finish this year strong. And we're going to start off by finishing the summer strong. It's August. We just started August. We're going into August with a good mind. We're going to August talking about rest and how to incorporate that in. So I'll touch on this more this month because I really want us to start incorporating these pieces into our lives so that we can have a more productive, more peaceful, sweeter life. So that's all I have for you guys today. These are tips and tricks and tools to build your sweetest life. I hope they're helpful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Follow me over there. Yeah, if you get a chance, go over to Instagram. I post pretty frequently over there, and I've started posting on TikTok as well. So if you're here on YouTube, check me out. I'll put the links to those in the description. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Join me for more of your sweetest life. Have a great day, you guys. Catch you next time. Bye.